We're rocking here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kahlief Adams from Spawn on Me, here to talk about video games. Video games are good. They're coming out every single day. What's your name? I'm Niki.
What's up, Niki?
Nice
What's the
to
big
meet
game
you.
coming out today?
Mario Kart 2 is coming out in a couple of weeks.
Spawn on these nuts.
What's good, y'all? This is Kahlief here. We're at Day of the Devs, and I am here to tell you that there are some amazing games here on the indie scene. We'll be going through some of the games I thought were the dopest ones here, have a couple of interviews, talk to some folks on the floor, and get some of that sexy B-roll that you know and love here at Day of the Devs.
So we're fighting Chance Games, and as you can see behind us, our game is Drag Her. It's a drag queen and king based fighting game, and it's one of those things where we haven't had a game like this yet, but we're long overdue for one.
Talk to me a little bit about bringing the world of drag alongside me, like, oh, this is a Rushdown character. Oh, this is a Zoner character.
The way I like to say it is, think of your favorite drag performer. How do they perform? Are they high energy dance? Are they like slow and dramatic? Are they soulful? And with that, you can kind of imagine how they would fit into a fighting game. You know, the fighting game archetypes are seen in drag already, just without the same labels. So we do have, you know, like a Zoner, we have a Rushdown, we have a Shoto. We only have 3 characters so far out of a total of 8, but we draw that inspiration from these real performers that already exist and the kind of character that they've developed for themselves.
Talk to me a little bit about like how folks have kind of come to it who have got a chance to play here tonight. And I also heard that you all got a chance to show it to folks at EVO.
Yeah, so we were at EVO. We were a little bit worried about it because we're bringing in the fighting game community. We're bringing in the drag community. And if we don't do it right on either end, they'll let us know. You know, we will hear about it. But the reception at EVO was great. We had our own little mini fighting game tournament, but we called it a pageant. The winner got a crown and a scepter. But while the tournament was going on, I was in the crowd kind of watching with them, and it warmed my heart a little bit to see a hardcore fighting game crowd who may have never seen a drag show, never looked at a drag performance, talking about these real life performers. Obviously, they're talking about the characters in the game, but in my mind, they were weighing the pros and cons, like the strengths and weaknesses of these real performers. And I thought, like, this is kind of the conversations that we hope to be opening up, because you don't need to know drag to play this game. You don't need to know fighting games to play this game. We want to make it accessible while giving it that depth of, like, you know, labbing and figuring out combos and min-maxing. And so that's kind of where we're all coming from. You know, we all love fighting games, love drag, and like I said, want to do it right.
I mean, it's one of my favorite games of the show. Thank you for the time. It is a brilliant game. I'm excited to see what happens with the kind of split screen stuff in the game too, which was really, really cool. So again, thank you for spending some time. And again, you have a banger of a game on your hands.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yo, we rocking with the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Higham. I only feel safe around you. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you don't know what the deal be. How you doing that Day of the Devs? How you doing?
I'm doing good. This is incredible. I'm so happy to be around everyone I know and love. This is what we come out for.
Yo, what's the joint at the show that you've seen that you're like, yo, this is fire?
I was playing Holstin. I feel like a lot of PS1 era retro style games, that's what's on the come up. And I love what we're doing with like survival horror, adventure style games, point and click. That is like a microcosm of a lot of things that we're seeing out of indie developers. But that's not to say that there's so much more creative things out here at Day of the Devs, because every time, whether it's SGF, E3, GDC, times like this during the holiday season, there's always indie developers who are showcasing innovative work.
You just answered like all of my questions in one shot.
My bad.
This man is really good at what he does. What was your favorite game of the show before we dip out of here?
I gotta say Two Strikes.
Yeah.
Bushido Blade style fighting game. Listen, that's what you want to put on for like charity streams. If you want to do couch co-op, if you like get someone on the Discord and you want to go through rounds of fights, easy, everyone's chilling. It was me, Nikki, Jesse, Tatum, all my homies were just crowding around that booth, playing Two Strikes, get in, get out, do your thing. that is probably the most fun I've had at Day of the Dev so far.
Hello, my name is Enrique Martinez. I'm in the publishing team on Attentalto, publishers for Two Strikes, new one-on-one fighting game inspired by the Kurosawa films and Samurai Showdown, and all these kinds of beautiful games where one strike is enough to decide it all.
It is so good. Like, just getting a chance to play with you. We had some epic matches. I got a chance to play with Kinda Funny's Blessing Adeyoje Jr. as well. And, you know, we're big fighting game fans. I think one of the things that really came through was pickup and playability, which I think is really, really cool. Yep. Talk to the folks at home a little bit about like how important it was to have that kind of pick up and play space.
The one thing about fighting games is that you kind of really get to learn a lot of new combos and to get a lot of new different play styles for each character you want to try. So if you're not very into fighting games, it's a bit daunting, you know? The onboarding experience to get to play a new game like Tekken or Street Fighter, you kind of mash buttons like a madman and hope for the best. We really want people at home to play this fighting game all by themselves or with huge pro players. We want everyone to jump in and get into the action, the blood pumping action. So we designed a system where every character can perform a light attack, a heavy attack, a block, or an evade. And then we mixed things up a bit. Every evade can turn into an attack, you can feint, and you can perfect parry attacks. But it's just a 3-button system. It's extremely accessible for everyone. You don't need to be this huge fighting game enthusiast to get into Two Strikes and perform extremely well. You just need to get into the head of the opponent.
What I love about our time playing together was having that moment where you stop thinking about it. You have this really instinctual layer where you're like, I need to just go in.
Yeah.
And I need to make a decision.
Definitely.
And I think that's a huge part of what makes this game so fun.
It's like a dance, right? Yeah. You get into the rhythm, you're no longer thinking. You are in the mind of the opponent. And once you see them committing to an attack, you know it's strike or die.
We're here rocking the Day of the Devs. Thanking one of my favorite folks in the gaming industry, Fran Mirabella. FM3, if you're not watching him on Twitch, what are you doing? You're messing it all up. Fran, how you holding up?
I'm doing good, man. It's nice bumping into you here at Day of the Devs.
When you go to a show like this, because you're not doing coverage in the way you used to do in your former life, doing some of that work, is this a thing where you're kind of coming to these shows and be like, hey, I'm looking for games to stream for my community. I'm looking for content to pull away from this. How are you thinking about shows like these?
I've always been curious about like indie games that pop, right? And quite frankly, there's too many games here to figure that out. But by talking to folks who've been playing, which one should I check out, is generally just what I do at this. And I already had a lead on one of the games from like some of my old IGN friends that weren't even here, but they knew about a game called, I'm gonna go check it out, it's called Go Mecha Ball, I think. And it looked really dope. It's got a really cool style. It's almost like a little Metroid Prime morph ball run around, and it looks cool. So that one's on my list. That's how I got there. And yeah, like, I don't know if you have any leads, but that's what I'll do is try and check out anything from the other critics that are like, definitely check this one out.
I mean, the game that you just talked about, I think is kind of perfect for you. You like that kinetic, like keep the folks involved. I know you also like a little bit of Score Muncher vibes in there. If you wanted to have like a real wild trip, Dome King Cabbage, we just talked to that developer, it's in the other room.
What's it called?
Dome King Cabbage.
Okay.
Here with Dome King Cabbage, which is my game of the show.
Oh, nice.
It is one of the dopest experiences I've gotten a chance to see. And we're here with the developer. You are?
Kobe Soft Joe. You can just call me Joe, though. That's okay.
Joe, talk a little bit about the inspiration for this project.
So inspiration comes from a ton of places. It's so hard to nail down because it can just be like something I see on a walk by my house, you know? But like a more straightforward answer would be monster collecting RPGs, obviously, like Pokemon, Digimon, but visually it's like 90s video game ads when they used to use like clay and stuff. And musically is like hip hop, jazz, all of that. So the influences are all over the place, which is why I think they kind of meld together in a weird way. And people are like, what the hell was that?
When people kind of start to play this experience, are you hoping that you're going to invoke a certain kind of feeling in them? Or is it kind of like sit back and enjoy the ride kind of deal?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it plays with concepts like nostalgia and memories. So you're feeling nostalgic and it's happy, but it's also sad. And it's like one of my favorite emotions. And I think that there's kind of a too much nostalgia stuff nowadays. So I don't want to focus necessarily on like, you're nostalgic about this, so buy it. But more so like, I want you to re-experience that feeling and like sit with it, Yeah. So like that, I think is like the main emotion. But I hope they feel a lot of emotions playing.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I feel like this is not a just go through this once kind of deal. You come back to this and it'll feel different depending upon your mood, the day, how much weed you had, like all the really good things that kind of mix into that space. But it feels like each one of those particular moments, you'll pull a snippet out of it and find something different to kind of poke at. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think that a theme of the game is loops and things looping. The music loops and all the backgrounds that are 3D loops. So the whole game in a way can be treated like a loop too. So like you said, I'm glad you picked up on that because you can go back to it and take away something completely different.
Another interview from Day of the Devs, and I have to say, one of the coolest, most interesting games on the floor is Horses. I'm here with
Andrea Lucco Borlera. I'm the solo developer, basically.
How would you explain the game to folks who are just coming to it for the first time?
You are a college student that is gonna have a working holiday experience in a farmhouse, but things are not like they were previously expected. So it's a kind of horror, disturbing, weird narrative game in which you have to spend 2 weeks and do strange things ordered by this strange and awkward guy, which is the farmer.
It is very strange and awkward when you meet the farmer for the first time. I want to hear more about the inspiration for this game.
I was inspired mainly by European art house films. I love a lot of directors like Lanthimos, Jan Svankmajer, Michael Haneke and others. And I try to convey in the game the same artistic approach, the idea to make something that can be uncomfortable and disturbing, but that leave you something deep and impactful.
It feels like when I got a chance to play and have that initial kind of walk through the scene, that everything was trying to tell me that this was not a safe space in a lot of ways. What were the things that when you decided to kind of go in this route were like, I want to pull this kind of creepy or strange element into the game for the player?
Because I like to be a little bit shocked. I'd like when a work of art make me uncomfortable because I feel something deep. And later I can think about it. And I can speculate about what the author was trying to tell me. In a very humble way, I try to do the same.
And I think you're nailing it. Yo, what is good? We are here at Day of the Devs. I'm rocking with Blessing Adeyoje Jr., 30 for 30 on the Forbes list. Man with the Daily Drip. Man with the Blessed Show. Giving you all the goodness that he brings to the world of the gaming industry. How are you doing, Bless? What's good?
I'm doing great. It's been a great 2 days. I've been tired, though. Been talking to so many people, but it's been an awesome 2 days, right? The Game Awards was dope. The Game Awards was a great experience, but then also, I've been at Day of the Devs all day today, and it's been great to see so many people come through, actually kick it with so many people, and then also get to play quite a few games, check out even more games, and it's been a really cool way to experience a bunch of games I didn't know before.
What are some of the games you were really coming into here and be like, I need to go check that out? And what are some of the ones that really surprised you?
Like, I didn't really know any of the games that were going to be here. So as soon as I stepped in, Jana Garcia told me, hey, you got to check out this toilet paper game. I believe it's called Give Me the Toilet Paper. And basically, at the demo station, they've shoved a Joy-Con into a toilet paper roll, and they give you this piece of cardboard, and you're balancing the toilet paper on the piece of cardboard back and forth to then navigate through a maze to then give this guy his toilet paper. For me, that's what immediately caught my attention, the fact that they're trying something so different. And, my immediate question was, all right, but like, what's the expectation for people at home, right? Like, you expect people to put their Joy-Cons in the toilet paper? Like, what do you want people to do? And I asked, like, the guy who was at the station, and he's like, well, everybody at home has toilet paper. And I was like, you're right. Like, yeah, I guess people at home do have toilet paper. So that's one that stood out to me. There's this game I believe it's called Despolote. It's a really cool looking first-person narrative game that takes place in Ecuador. And it takes place during the time that the World Cup was in Ecuador. And so you are experiencing that community through the lens of a character that is coming from there. And it's a game that's all about soccer. You're kicking around soccer ball. You have like first-person soccer mechanics, which is really cool. There's also another game called Combo Devils that I didn't actually get a chance to play, but I talked to one of the people on the team, one of the producers. It's a lot of people that worked on Project M previously. A lot of people that worked in games previously created a studio to make this fighting game that is, a Smash-style platform fighter, but it has meters in the way that a Street Fighter does or a Marvel vs. Capcom does. And it seems like it's a bit more hardcore of a platform fighter, and they talked about a roguelike mode that sounds really cool, and I love that. I played Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and that game has a roguelike mode that I really like, and so, yeah, like, I keep going, but there's a lot of cool games that are here.
We're here with the gentleman behind Kind Words 2. Tell the folks at home who you are and what you do.
Hey, I'm Zas Scott, and I run Pop Cannibal, it's a little game studio. I made Kind Words and Kind Words 2.
I have to thank you because Kind Words it came into my life in a really, really cool time. It was a game that was in the zeitgeist for a bit across a lot of folks who were having a lot of feels about the world. And I think your game gave everyone the space to be able to kind of talk about things that they may not necessarily share with, folks in their peer group or their friend group. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being a part of it.
That was awesome. I want to talk a little bit about Kind Words 2 and see what's the new parts of the game, what have kind of been the new advancements in all of it?
Yeah, so Kind Words 2 includes Kind Words 1 in it. It has a remade, slightly polished up version of Kind Words. Because Kind Words 1 is a game about writing nice letters to people. And the thing we found is that people, they love playing Kind Words and they love writing nice letters. They love doing other stuff too. And they would cram all that into Kind Words 1. They would write poetry and they would say, hey, what's your favorite anime? And just all sorts of fun, weird stuff. They didn't quite fit because there's just a spot to write your worries, and then people would get angry and be like, oh, you can't write about it. Then some other people are like, oh, my favorite anime is this. So we looked at all those things people want to do but are having trouble doing, and that's what Kind Words 2 is. Spaces for all those things that people are already trying to do in Kind Words 1.
That's awesome because I think that is a part of that camaraderie, right? And there is this want for connection in a kind of bigger way, and you do that through media, conversations about those things.
Yeah, and it can be, Kind Words 1 can be very heavy at times. When the main prompt is write what you're worried about, which is great and it's important and people take advantage of that, but if you spend a lot of time in there, you're like, oh, this is tough. Everybody needs more help than one person can give. And so it makes sense while people are going off topic. They want to just have a little fun and lightness. And so Kind Words 2 is giving a bit more of that space for casual chats. There's a thing that's kind of like texting. You can walk around and talk to every person walking around. You can have little asynchronous chats with them, and there's going to be places to tell jokes and be silly, but also still be anonymous and not stress out about anything from other social media, like likes or followers or numbers.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I just like the aesthetic that has kind of come through, right? You had the room, which is in Kind Words, and then we can walk around and kind of talk to folks and have interactions in that way, right?
Yeah, we launched the game summer 2019, and it's about a person who's stuck in the room with some hard feelings, and then the pandemic hits, right? And then everybody's like, wow, you made a pandemic game. You're like, it was a coincidence. But now we're walking out of the room. When you start Kind Words 2, you start in the room from Kind Words 1, and you can play Kind Words 1 there, but there's a new button that just says go outside. So that's where the whole world expands, and that's kind of what I feel we all needed to do, and finally some of us getting to. This is the first show I've been at since pre-pandemic, and that's
wild.
I hit that walk outside button, and now I'm having more conversation.
We're outside, baby, we're outside. Everybody, we are wrapping it up from here at Day of the Devs. It has been a ridiculously good show. It has been fantastic. Got a chance to check out some of the best in the indie space. And I have to say, like, the folks from Double Fine, they put on such a good show every year. That's everything from a drag show fighting game to a game that you control with a toilet paper roll. Wild stuff that happens to be from developers all across the world, stuff that looks like something in a fever dream. It has been a really awesome show, and I'm so happy that we got a chance to bring you all of that goodness here on Spawn on Me. So make sure you're checking out our YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking out everything on our socials. We have more stuff coming up on the audio feeds and the video feeds as well. And until then, much love. Wash your hands, wash your butt, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.